Hello, Binford. Go Badgers. All right, welcome to day 4 of division. This will be our last day on division. Again, day 1 and 2 were mostly review, so those are the important ones. Day 3 and 4 are going to be a little bit extra, kind of trying to get some more efficient methods for getting division. So yesterday we talked about the Big Seven. And that was a kind of maybe confusing, hopefully not. Maybe you got it, but if you didn't get it, that's okay. Because we're taking that next step forward and it's kind of hard to do online learning, isn't it? But we're going to practice it a little bit more again today. So right off the bat, I want to give you guys a problem and see if you guys can do it on your own. If you can't, we'll do an explanation afterwards, and then we'll talk about something that I had mentioned yesterday, I think, but we're going to get to today. So the first problem I want to see, remember when we write our new division way, we start on the inside and then read it out. So we have 189 divided by 7. I want you to try with the Big 7 to see if you can get 189 divided by 7. If you can't, go ahead and do it with a ratio table to see if you can get the answer, and then we'll come back. When I come back from pause, we'll do it together with the Big 7. So go ahead and hit pause, boop, and I'll see you in a minute. All right, welcome back from pause. Hopefully you were able to at least start the Big 7. If you didn't, that's okay. We're gonna work through this one together. All right, so remember, when we're doing the Big 7, we're trying to see how many times 7 can go into 189. And when we use our Big 7, we're going to do our multiples, or we're going to add those here to see if we can get this down to a 0. Remember when I said those multiples are important? This is why. So when I'm looking at 189, and I need to see how many times 7 can go into it, I don't know right away. What I do know is that it's easiest to use 1s, 5s, 10s, 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s. When in doubt, you can stick with your 10s if you have to. We're going to do that today. So I know that 10 times 7 is 70. And then we're going to subtract that. I'm left with a 9, 1, and another 1 when you do the subtraction. Again, I know that 70 is less than that, so I'm going to do another 10. So 10 times 7 is 70. And now I'm going to subtract that again. And I get a 9. And I can't do 1 minus 7, so I got to turn that into a 0, turn that into 11. And I'm left with 49. Ooh. Knowing my multiplication practice, or my multiplication tables, like all you guys practice, something times 7 equals 49. Hopefully it just pops in your brain. If it doesn't, that's okay. You have time to learn. But 7 times 7 is 49. And you minus that, you get to 0. Yay! Last step of the process, we just have to enter how many, or add up how many times we had to multiply by. So I had 10, and 10 is 20, plus another 7 is 27. Some of you guys probably skipped it or combined these two into one and didn't do it each by 10. That's perfectly fine. That's actually awesome because that's the most efficient way to do it. So instead of having a 70 here, you would have had 140, and you would have got to skip this as just one chunk, and you would have been left with 49, turns into a 7, minus 49. All right, some of you guys, hopefully that went well. Now I want to talk about one other little piece that some of you might have noticed is missing. You said, these are great, but so far we've always been able to get down to a 0, Mr. B. What happens if there's remainders? Well, let's try that out. I'm going to start off with a little bit simpler one while we do remainders. Let's have 47 divided by 3. I'm going to do my Big 7 method. I'm going to hit pause, I'm just going to have you try this on your own to see what you can do. Because remember, when we talked about this in Mr. B's class, sometimes if you work on a problem and struggle with it and then watch how to do it, we know it sinks in our brain better because you've done a couple ways that you know wouldn't work now. So I'm going to ask you to go ahead and hit pause and try this one on your own. Boop. All right, welcome back. Hopefully you had success. If you didn't, that's okay because you haven't learned it yet. So let's do this one together. So we're going to use our big 7 method. We have to get, how many times does 3 go into 47? Well, I know that, again, 1s, 5s, 10s. I know that 3 times 10 is 30. And then I'm just going to subtract these. 7 minus 0 is 7. 1 minus 3, or 4 minus 3 is 1. And I have 17. Now, let me see if I can get how close or how many times 3 goes into 17. Well, I know it can go 3, 6, 9, 12, 15. So I know it can go in 5 times. So I'm going to do a 5 times 3 is 15. And subtract, and I get 2. Now, I don't know what to do with that extra 2. Because 3 can't go into 2. So some of you may have figured out that this right here is going to be your remainder. So when we do that, you will have a remainder. If this number is smaller than the one you're dividing it by, that will be your remainder. If it was 8 up here and you had a 5, the remainder would be 5. Whenever it's smaller, you have finished doing this part. So the way I would write this answer now is I would add up these numbers. 10 and 5 is 15, lining them up with the place value. And then I would go remainder 2. Hopefully not too bad. Let's try one more together with a remainder to see if you guys can get it. It'll be a slightly bigger one. And I'm going to give you a chance to work on it yourself. We're going to have 178 divided by 6. We're going to use the big 7 method, and I want you guys to try to work it on your own. So go ahead, hit pause, boop, and I'll see you in a minute. All right, welcome back. So we're going to try to find out what this one is, and it should have a remainder in it. So as we're looking at this one, we're trying to figure out how many times does 6 go into 178. So we're going to try to figure it out and try to get this number down to 0 by adding our multiples. Well, I'm going to do something. I know that 6 times 1 is 10, or 6 times 1 is 6. 6 times 10 is 60. 6 times 20 is double 10, so double 60 is 120. That's smaller, so I'm going to do a 20. And I'm going to write 20 times 60 is 120. And now I'm going to subtract that to see what we have left. I have an 8. I have here a 5. And those turn into zeros. So now I need to figure out how many times 6 goes into 58. Well, I know that 6 times 9 is 54 because it's 1 less than 60. 6 times 10 is 60, which is too much. 1 less 6 is 6 times 9, and that's 54. So I'm going to write 6 times 9 is 50 and 4, and I subtract, and now I'm left with a 4. And like we said, we want to get this number to 0 or less than this number up here. So if it's less, that means you can't see how many times 6 goes into 4. It just doesn't. It's what we have left. It's our remainder. So to write our answer, we're going to do 20 plus 9 is 29. And remember to line up place values. And then we're going to do remainder 4. So that's going to be it for the division week. This is Big 7. If you get stuck or you want some extra resources that I can show you, some extra videos or some extra practice problems, please let me know. You guys have done awesome this week. This is above and beyond fourth grade stuff, but I thought I would give it to you as a little bonus tool that you guys can use in the summer if you want, or just to be more efficient at division. Remember that you guys rock. You're doing awesome. We'll get through this together. Go Binford.